Hello students! Today we'll talk about paraphrasing. You'll see why it is essential for future translators to know how to paraphrase. You'll learn how to do it correctly, and I'll show you some typical pitfalls. So let's start. What is paraphrasing? It is a restatement, that is, saying something in a different way, using your own words, always preserving the meaning of the original. So, whenever you have to rewrite or repeat someone else's words, you have to keep the meaning of the writing or the statement, but using a different format. Let's see an example. The original sentence says, "Writing is a very important skill for many students." We could paraphrase it saying, "Lots of students find being skillful at writing essential." As you can see, I've changed some words and the structure. Very important is now essential. Many students was changed to lots of students. And the noun skill to verb plus adjective, being skillful. In the first sentence, the subject is writing. The verb is, and the rest is the complement to the subject, because the verb is copular. But now pay attention to the structure of the paraphrased sentence. It is different. The subject changed to lots of students. The verb is now find. And now we have an object which is being skillful at writing. Lots of students find it essential. That's how you can check if it is an object. And a complement to that object, because it's saying something about that object, which is of course essential. So we've paraphrased. We've used different words and a different structure, but we kept the meaning of the original. Why do we need to paraphrase, and why it is so important for translation? To avoid plagiarism when using the work of others to support your own ideas. Plagiarism is copying someone else's exact words, and it's of course illegal. To avoid it, we should paraphrase and cite, of course, the sources. But let's go back to paraphrasing. Oops. I'll show you some techniques to paraphrase correctly. Number 1. Using synonyms. For example, the hardest language to learn is Japanese. Change to Japanese is the most difficult language to master or to be good at. You can see I've replaced hardest with the most difficult, and learn with to master or be good at. Then another technique is changing the word class from noun to verb, from adjective to adverb, etc. For example, I could never have succeeded without your help. Changed to I could never have succeeded if you hadn't helped me. Here the noun help changed to a verb, helped. Technique number 3. Using equivalents. You may say, why not using synonyms? Well, it's not the same. We cannot use synonyms all the time because sometimes you might produce sentences that are not natural English. Then we'll see an example. But now let's say this one. It can be difficult to choose a suitable Chinese restaurant in England. It is sometimes hard to select an appropriate Chinese restaurant in England. Can be and is sometimes are here equivalents, not synonyms. The other words are synonyms in this context. The fourth technique is to change the order of the words. When he was at college, this is what is going to change, Ali played tennis a lot. Changed to Ali used to play a lot of tennis when he was at college. And the fifth method is using different grammar, from passive to active voice, from direct speech to indirect speech. Let's see some examples. Linda's plans for a picnic have been spoiled by the weather. Linda's plans for a picnic have fallen through because of the weather. Another example. You've broken my radio, Frank, said Jane. Jane accused Frank of having broken her radio. Now let's see some typical pitfalls. Forgetting to acknowledge the source or the author, in academic writing, of course. Misreading the original and saying something different from the original, leaving out important information or expanding the meaning. Including too much of the original is another typical pitfall because of the risk of committing plagiarism. Adding your opinion, summarizing rather than paraphrasing, and the last one, substituting inappropriate synonyms. This is very important. It is a common mistake, and it's important for us, translators, to choose the suitable combination, the suitable collocation, because some words are often used together, and there's no particular reason for this, no logic, no rules. We can say, or we say, commit a crime, not make a crime. Why? Because in Spanish we say dar un paseo. We don't say tomar un paseo o hacer un paseo. ¿Y por qué lo decimos así? Porque sí. Let's exemplify this thing I'm saying. The original sentence is, it can be difficult to choose a suitable place to study English. You may think we could change some words, replace them with synonyms, and if we are not careful with the word choice, we could get something like this, like the second one. It is often a challenge to pick up a relevant school to learn English. This sentence is unnatural. The first problem is pick up. This expression does not have the same meaning as choose, not in this context. The second problem is the word relevant. In some cases, relevant and suitable are good synonyms, but in this example they are not. So, context and collocation will determine the word choice. And how do we know which word collocates with another? Well, simple. Use the dictionary. A correct paraphrased sentence is the third example. It is sometimes hard to select an appropriate place to learn English. Why is paraphrasing so important for us, for translators? Paraphrasing represents the preservation of meaning using different words in the same language. And translation represents the preservation of meaning in the words of a different language. So, though they may seem unconnected, I'll show you that they are intimately related. Let's see an example. And since I'm already down there in supplication on the floor, let me hold that position as I reach back in time 3 years earlier to the moment when this entire story began. A moment which also found me in this exact same posture, on my knees, on a floor, praying. A poor literal translation may be something like this. Y como ya estoy suplicante en el suelo, permítanme sostener esa posición mientras vuelvo 3 años al pasado, hasta el momento en que esta historia comenzó. Un momento que también me encontró exactamente en esta misma postura. Vayan escuchando lo mal que suena. En mis rodillas, en el suelo, rezando. Y seguramente encontraron errores comunes como el uso del posesivo para las partes del cuerpo, bueno, etc. Now let's see an example of a good translation, in which we can see that the translator has paraphrased all those literal and unnatural structures and has created a smooth version. The translator is Gabriela Bustero. Y como ya estoy en el suelo en actitud suplicante, permitan que me quede así mientras retrocedo en el tiempo hasta 3 años antes de que empezara toda esta historia. Hasta un momento en el que estaba yo exactamente en la misma postura, de rodillas en el suelo, rezando. So the point is that practicing paraphrasing in English will help you improve your translations into Spanish. Why? Because you learn how to move the different elements of a sentence. You learn how to use different words to avoid, for example, cacophony, if it's not used in the original, etc. So, that's all for now. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, and have a nice day.